For millions of seniors living with arthritis, managing daily pain is already a challenge. Morning stiffness, swollen joints, and that persistent ache after a short walk or a few minutes in the garden are more than just uncomfortable. They're exhausting. Many older adults do everything right. They take prescribed medications, follow a gentle exercise plan, and even change their diets to reduce inflammation. But what if, despite their best efforts, something seemingly helpful was actually making their arthritis worse? One of the most commonly overlooked causes of worsening arthritis symptoms is drug interaction. Not every pill or supplement that enters the body exists in isolation. When combined, especially in adults taking multiple prescriptions or over-the-counter medications, certain drugs can interact in ways that quietly but powerfully aggravate joint inflammation, stiffness, or swelling. In some cases, the very medication taken for another condition, like blood pressure, cholesterol, or acid reflux, can interfere with the effectiveness of arthritis treatments or even trigger new flare-ups entirely. This is especially important for older adults, who are more likely to be managing multiple chronic health conditions. A senior might be prescribed a common statin for cholesterol, take a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory for joint pain, and add a daily antacid, all without realizing that the combination may be making their joint pain management harder, not easier. In today's video, we'll explore 6 common drug interactions that have been linked to increased arthritis symptoms. These are combinations that often fly under the radar, especially when they involve everyday medications or supplements that seem harmless on their own. For each interaction, we'll break down how it works, why it matters, and what you can do to protect yourself. You'll also hear real-life examples from seniors across the country who discovered these issues the hard way, and how they turned things around by asking the right questions and working closely with their healthcare providers. Because when it comes to arthritis, knowledge is power. And sometimes, relief begins with taking a closer look at the medicine cabinet. 1. NSAIDs and blood pressure medications. A hidden clash that increases inflammation. One of the most common and quietly harmful drug interactions affecting seniors with arthritis occurs between NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen or naproxen, and certain types of blood pressure medications, particularly ACE inhibitors and diuretics. For older adults living with both high blood pressure and arthritis, this interaction often flies under the radar, even though it can directly worsen arthritis symptoms while placing added stress on the kidneys and heart. NSAIDs are widely used to relieve pain and reduce inflammation in arthritis. They work by blocking the production of prostaglandins, substances in the body that promote swelling and sensitivity in the joints. While this can bring short-term relief, problems arise when NSAIDs are taken regularly alongside medications that regulate blood pressure. Drugs like lisinopril, enalapril, or hydrochlorothiazide help reduce strain on the heart by adjusting how the body handles fluids and sodium. However, when combined with NSAIDs, these medications may not work as effectively. And worse, they may lead to fluid retention, increased joint swelling, and a rise in overall blood pressure. This was exactly what happened to Leonard Len Chambers, a 79-year-old retired accountant from Louisville, Kentucky. Len had been managing mild osteoarthritis for years using over-the-counter ibuprofen, especially during the colder months when his knees became stiff. At the same time, he was also prescribed a diuretic and an ACE inhibitor for high blood pressure. For a while, everything seemed fine, until Len started waking up with noticeably swollen ankles and a dull ache in his lower back. He assumed it was just aging, or perhaps a new arthritis flare-up. But a routine checkup revealed that his kidney function had declined. His doctor traced it back to the regular combination of NSAIDs and blood pressure meds, which had quietly worked against each other over time. After consulting with his physician and pharmacist, Len adjusted his pain management strategy. He began exploring non-drug approaches to reduce inflammation, like turmeric supplements and gentle stretching, while only using NSAIDs occasionally under medical supervision. Within weeks, the swelling eased and his blood pressure stabilized again. For other seniors living with similar conditions, Len's story is a powerful reminder of how easily one health routine can unintentionally sabotage another. NSAIDs are not inherently dangerous, but when used alongside certain cardiovascular drugs, they can interfere with fluid balance and blood flow, contributing to joint discomfort instead of relieving it. That's why it's essential for older adults to discuss all of their medications, prescription and over-the-counter, with their doctor or pharmacist regularly, especially when managing joint pain and hypertension at the same time. Understanding these interactions can mean the difference between progress and setback. And in many cases, even small changes, like spacing out medications, choosing alternative pain relief methods, or switching to less reactive drug classes, can significantly improve how your joints feel and how your body responds overall. In the journey of joint pain management, knowledge is more than power. It's protection. Especially when the very medication meant to help us might be quietly working against us from within. Number 2. Corticosteroids and Antacids. A daily combo that silently weakens the joints. For many seniors living with chronic arthritis, corticosteroids like prednisone offer fast relief from severe inflammation, especially during painful flare-ups. These medications are powerful tools in joint pain management, helping to calm the immune system and reduce swelling that damages joints over time. However, what's not always discussed is how corticosteroids, when combined with certain antacids or acid-blocking medications, can quietly interfere with nutrient absorption and accelerate joint deterioration in subtle, cumulative ways. Corticosteroids are known to interfere with calcium metabolism and reduce the body's ability to absorb vitamin D, two critical components for maintaining healthy bones and joint structures. To counteract this, many seniors are advised to take calcium and vitamin D supplements while using steroids. But here's where things get complicated. The frequent use of antacids, including proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole or H2 blockers like ranitidine, can further decrease the absorption of these very nutrients. When both drugs are taken together, especially over long periods, the combination can leave bones and joints vulnerable to weakness, microfractures, and increased inflammation. This was the case for Florence Flo Daniels, an 82-year-old former librarian from Sacramento, California. Flo had been using low-dose prednisone for several years to help manage her rheumatoid arthritis, especially during colder seasons. Because of occasional heartburn and indigestion, her doctor also prescribed a proton pump inhibitor. At first, it seemed like a harmless pairing, but over time, Flo began experiencing more fatigue in her legs, a nagging pain in her lower spine, and a decline in her posture that affected her balance. Lab work eventually showed low calcium and vitamin D levels, along with signs of early bone thinning. While her arthritis had felt under control, her skeletal health had been quietly suffering. Flo's doctor explained that the dual impact of steroids and acid-reducing medications had made it difficult for her body to absorb the nutrients her joints and bones depended on. After adjusting her medication plan, switching to a different reflux treatment, and increasing her vitamin D intake with a diet rich in fortified foods and sunlight exposure, Flo noticed gradual improvement. She also incorporated more weight-bearing exercises into her routine to help maintain bone strength without triggering her arthritis. This story isn't uncommon. Many seniors rely on both corticosteroids and antacids without realizing how the interaction can compromise joint health. While both medications serve important roles, one to fight inflammation, the other to reduce digestive discomfort, their combination, especially over months or years, can quietly contribute to worsening arthritis symptoms and increased risk of osteoporosis. For older adults managing multiple conditions, it's crucial to look beyond short-term symptom control and consider the long-term effects of combining medications. If you or a loved one regularly uses corticosteroids and acid blockers, it's worth discussing bone density monitoring and nutrient supplementation with your healthcare provider. A few simple adjustments, whether dietary, medicinal, or lifestyle-based, can help protect your joints and bones from gradual damage that might otherwise go unnoticed until it's too late. Ultimately, joint pain management isn't just about taming today's inflammation. It's about preserving your strength, mobility, and independence for years to come. 3. Statins and muscle pain, when cholesterol drugs mimic arthritis symptoms. In the pursuit of heart health, statins have become one of the most commonly prescribed medications for seniors, helping to lower cholesterol and reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes. But what many older adults don't realize is that these same medications can sometimes trigger side effects that resemble or even worsen existing arthritis symptoms, especially when paired with other drugs that affect muscle function or liver metabolism. Statins, such as atorvastatin or simvastatin, work by blocking an enzyme in the liver that helps produce cholesterol. While this action protects blood vessels, it can also interfere with the production of coenzyme Q10, CoQ10, a compound your muscles need for energy and function. When CoQ10 levels drop, muscle pain, fatigue, and stiffness may develop, symptoms that are often mistaken for an arthritis flare-up or simply aging. The problem deepens when statins interact with other medications, like certain antibiotics, antifungals, or even grapefruit juice, which inhibit the liver enzymes responsible for breaking down statins. This interaction can raise the levels of statins in the bloodstream and amplify these muscle-related side effects. Take the story of Warren Woody Ellis, a 76-year-old retired firefighter from Tampa, Florida. Woody had been on a statin for over a decade with no major issues until his doctor prescribed an antifungal medication for a minor skin infection. Within days, he began experiencing unusual stiffness in his legs and lower back, which he initially attributed to his osteoarthritis acting up. But unlike his typical joint pain, this discomfort felt deeper, more like muscle fatigue that wouldn't go away. He also noticed his legs felt weak going upstairs, and his balance seemed off. A follow-up visit and some lab work revealed that the antifungal medication had interfered with the way his body processed the statin, leading to elevated levels that were affecting his muscles. With guidance from his doctor, Woody paused the statin temporarily, switched to a different antifungal, and eventually resumed a lower statin dose with added CoQ10 supplementation. Within a week, his stiffness began to ease and his energy returned. This kind of drug interaction is more common than many people think. For seniors managing both cardiovascular health and joint conditions, the overlap of symptoms can be confusing and easily misinterpreted. Muscle pain from statins doesn't always feel like typical arthritis. But when combined with other medications, the lines blur, leading many to believe their arthritis is simply getting worse. That's why open communication with healthcare providers is essential. If you notice new or unusual muscle pain, fatigue, or stiffness after starting a new medication, or if your existing arthritis pain suddenly feels different, it's important to ask whether drug interactions could be playing a role. Your doctor may suggest blood tests to check muscle enzymes, adjust your dosage, or switch medications altogether. Ultimately, managing joint pain in the presence of other chronic conditions means understanding that every medication has a ripple effect. Sometimes what seems like arthritis is actually your body signaling a deeper imbalance, one that can be corrected with awareness, timely adjustments, and support. By being proactive and informed, Seniors can navigate complex treatment plans without sacrificing comfort or mobility. And with the right guidance, you can protect your joints, your muscles, and your overall quality of life. Step by steady step. 4. Diuretics and gout flares, a water pill that can spark joint attacks. For many seniors, diuretics, often called water pills, are a routine part of managing high blood pressure or heart failure. These medications help the body eliminate excess fluid and sodium through urination, reducing strain on the heart and lowering blood pressure. But while they play a vital role in cardiovascular health, diuretics can also create an unexpected and painful problem for those living with arthritis, particularly a form called gout. Gout is a type of inflammatory arthritis caused by the buildup of uric acid crystals in the joints. When uric acid levels in the blood rise too high, the excess forms sharp crystals that settle into places like the big toe, ankles, knees, or fingers, causing sudden, severe swelling, redness, and intense joint pain. Unfortunately, certain diuretics, especially thiazide and loop diuretics, can reduce the kidney's ability to eliminate uric acid effectively. This leads to higher levels of uric acid, which significantly increases the risk of gout attacks. Consider the case of Darlene D. Kruger, an 84-year-old retired florist from Mobile, Alabama. Dee had been taking a diuretic for several years to manage her blood pressure, and everything seemed fine until she suddenly began experiencing excruciating pain in her left foot. At first, she assumed she had sprained it, but when the swelling became worse overnight and the skin turned red and hot to the touch, she knew something was wrong. After visiting her doctor, she was diagnosed with gout, a condition she had never experienced before. As it turned out, the diuretic she had been using was contributing to the buildup of uric acid in her system. Once her doctor made the connection, they revised her treatment plan, switching her to a different blood pressure medication that didn't affect uric acid levels as severely. Dee also adjusted her diet to limit purine-rich foods like red meat and shellfish, and began taking low-dose medication to control her uric acid. Since making these changes, her arthritis symptoms have become more manageable, and she hasn't experienced another gout flare since. This type of drug interaction is especially important for older adults, since gout can be easily confused with other forms of arthritis. Many seniors may assume a sudden flare-up is just their osteoarthritis worsening, when in fact, it could be an avoidable uric acid spike triggered by the medications they're taking. That's why it's so important to review your prescriptions regularly and keep an open line of communication with your healthcare provider, especially if you notice new joint pain that appears suddenly and doesn't follow your usual pattern. For those with a history of gout or unexplained arthritis flare-ups, a routine blood test to check uric acid levels can provide valuable insight. Even better, small adjustments in medication and diet can often reduce symptoms without requiring a complete overhaul of your treatment plan. In the complex puzzle of joint pain management, medications that help one system may challenge another. But with awareness, personalized guidance, and regular check-ins, seniors can find a balance that supports both heart health and joint health without trading one for the other. 5. Antidepressants and sleep aids. When sedation masks inflammation. In the lives of many seniors, emotional wellness and physical comfort are deeply intertwined. Conditions like arthritis don't just affect the joints. They impact sleep, mood, and energy levels. It's not uncommon for older adults living with chronic arthritis symptoms to also experience insomnia, anxiety, or mild depression. To manage these, doctors may prescribe antidepressants or sleep aids, aiming to restore balance, rest, and emotional resilience. But what's not always discussed is how these medications can interact with each other and with arthritis treatments in ways that dull the body's natural response to inflammation or even delay critical diagnosis. Certain antidepressants, particularly selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, and commonly prescribed sleep aids like zolpidem or trazodone can cause muscle stiffness, joint discomfort, or restlessness as side effects. When taken alongside medications used to control arthritis, such as corticosteroids or NSAIDs, the sedation from these drugs can sometimes mask the warning signs of an arthritis flare. This delayed awareness can prevent timely adjustments to treatment and allow inflammation to worsen quietly in the background. Additionally, some of these drugs may interfere with the way liver enzymes process arthritis medications, leading to reduced effectiveness or unintended buildup in the bloodstream. Take the case of Stan Holbrook, a 77-year-old retired pharmacist from Syracuse, New York. After developing persistent joint pain in his hands and lower back, he was diagnosed with early-stage inflammatory arthritis. To help him sleep through the night, his doctor prescribed a low-dose antidepressant known for its sedating effects. For a while, Stan was grateful to get more rest. But over time, he began waking up groggier, with tightness in his shoulders and knees that lingered into the afternoon. He also noticed his pain medications didn't seem to work as well, and yet he couldn't fully feel where the inflammation was coming from. After reviewing his medications with his rheumatologist, Stan learned that the sedative was dulling his pain response while also interfering with how his body metabolized the anti-inflammatory drugs. Once the antidepressant was tapered down and replaced with a different strategy, like mindfulness meditation, a weighted blanket, and a melatonin supplement, his awareness returned. He could once again tell when his joints needed attention, and his treatment plan became far more effective. This kind of drug interaction isn't about danger in the traditional sense. It's about subtle interference. For seniors living with arthritis, recognizing flare-ups quickly is critical to managing long-term damage. If a medication, even one that promotes sleep or reduces anxiety, begins to blunt that awareness or change the way the body processes other drugs, it can lead to hidden setbacks. Joint damage isn't always loud. It can be quiet, gradual, and easy to miss if your senses are dulled by sedation. That's why it's so important to treat the whole person, not just the pain or the stress. Working with doctors who understand how emotional health and physical health overlap, especially in older adults, is essential. If you or a loved one takes sleep aids or antidepressants while also managing arthritis, it's worth discussing how the combination may be influencing not just rest and mood, but joint pain management as well. Because the goal isn't just to sleep through the night, it's to wake up stronger, clearer, and more in tune with the signals your body sends each day. Number 6. Herbal supplements and prescription medications. When natural isn't always safe. In recent years, more and more seniors have turned to herbal remedies and natural supplements as part of their self-care routine, hoping to reduce inflammation, boost immunity, or improve energy levels without relying solely on prescription drugs. And while many of these supplements can offer real benefits, they're not without risks, especially when taken alongside medications for arthritis or other chronic conditions. One of the most overlooked drug interactions that can aggravate arthritis symptoms comes not from a pill bottle, but from the vitamin or herb aisle at the local pharmacy. Supplements like turmeric, ginseng, garlic extract, St. John's wort, and even fish oil are often marketed as natural anti-inflammatories. And while that may sound promising for someone managing joint pain, the truth is more complex. These substances can interfere with the way the liver metabolizes arthritis medications, either by speeding up their breakdown, making them less effective, or by causing levels to rise too high in the blood, increasing side effects like stomach upset, dizziness, or liver strain. Some supplements also act as blood thinners, which can increase the risk of bruising or internal bleeding, especially dangerous when combined with NSAIDs or corticosteroids commonly used in joint pain management. This was a hard lesson learned by Clarence Clay Weston, a 73-year-old retired school principal from San Diego, California. Clay had been diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis several years earlier and was taking a low-dose immunosuppressant medication prescribed by his rheumatologist. In an effort to avoid more medication, he began adding turmeric capsules and concentrated garlic extract to his daily routine after reading that they could help reduce joint inflammation naturally. At first, he felt encouraged. His morning stiffness seemed to improve slightly, and he appreciated the idea of taking a more holistic path. But within a few months, Clay began experiencing unusual fatigue, dizziness, and frequent indigestion. A routine blood test revealed elevated liver enzymes and inconsistent levels of his prescribed arthritis medication. After a thorough review of his supplements with his doctor and pharmacist, it became clear that the herbs were interacting with his liver's enzyme systems and altering how his arthritis drug was processed. Once he paused the supplements and returned to his original medication plan, this time with closer monitoring, his symptoms stabilized and his energy returned. Clay's experience is not uncommon. Many seniors assume that if something is natural, it must be safe. But natural doesn't mean free of side effects, especially when it comes to drug interactions. Even everyday nutrients like vitamin E or high-dose fish oil can thin the blood or alter drug metabolism when taken in large quantities or combined with certain prescriptions. For older adults managing arthritis, the key is not to avoid supplements altogether, but to use them with intention and supervision. Before adding any new vitamin, herbal remedy, or over-the-counter product to your routine, it's crucial to speak with your healthcare provider or pharmacist. Ask how it might interact with your current medications, whether it affects your liver or kidney function, and what dosage is considered safe based on your health profile. Because when it comes to joint health, it's not just what you take, it's how everything you take works together. And with so many moving parts, even the most well-meaning choices can backfire if they aren't part of a coordinated, informed care plan. In the end, protecting your joints means protecting your whole system by making decisions based not on labels, but on knowledge, communication, and trust. For many seniors living with arthritis, managing daily pain already feels like a full-time job. But as we've seen throughout today's video, what makes that job even harder isn't just the disease itself. It's the hidden drug interactions that quietly work against your progress. From common combinations like NSAIDs and blood pressure medications to the subtle impact of antidepressants, statins, and even herbal supplements, the effects on arthritis symptoms can be profound yet easy to overlook. The most dangerous part of these interactions isn't how dramatic they are, it's how quietly they unfold. A slight increase in joint stiffness, a change in morning fatigue, or a new ache in an unusual place may not seem alarming at first. But over time, these small shifts can compound, eroding the effectiveness of your joint pain management plan and leading to avoidable discomfort or long-term complications. That's why awareness is your greatest defense. Understanding that every medication you take, prescription, over-the-counter, or natural, has the potential to influence your arthritis is the first step toward greater control. It's not about fear or avoiding treatment. It's about informed, proactive care. If you're taking multiple medications and have noticed recent changes in how your joints feel, talk to your doctor or pharmacist. Ask them to review your full medication list, not just for safety, but for synergy. Many issues can be corrected with small changes, like adjusting dosage, switching drug classes, or spacing medications differently throughout the day. And remember, your body is always speaking to you. If something feels off, even if it seems small, listen to it. Share those changes with your healthcare team. Because every step you take to understand and adjust your treatment plan is a step toward greater comfort, mobility, and independence. If this video helps shed light on something you've been experiencing, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more guidance on how to care for your body wisely, gently, and completely. Because when you know what to look for, you gain more than relief. You gain power, the power to protect your joints, your health, and your peace of mind.